Let's see. What are we gonna play today? So many options to Wizards 101. Wahahaha. Oh, hello, old friend. Hello, friend. Today I'm trying something a little differently where I recorded my video and then I'm going to do a voiceover. But today we are playing Wizard101. I used to play this as a kid. I'm sure a lot of you out there also did. But I'm super excited to relive my childhood dreams. So to get started, Headmaster Ambrose mentioned that I was a student with high potential, even possibly to save Wizard City. Is this the dialogue maybe every person gets when they start? Perhaps. However, I truly think I am special and can achieve greatness. So, Headmaster Ambrose had me start out by taking a quiz to see what kind of wizard I was. You know what? This quiz is honestly better than the Pottermore Harry Potter Sorting House quiz if you've taken it. And I don't understand why in today's time we are still asking people what's your Hogwarts house when we could be asking each other what is your Wizards 101 skill set. So after taking my quiz, I found out that I was in the School of Death, which was really interesting. I'm pretty sure I was in the School of Fire as a kid, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember a lot about this storyline of this game, but I was pretty sure the Death School had a bad reputation, but I was here for it, you know? I feel like it fits the main character vibes. I then went on to character creation, where I tried to make a character that looked somewhat like me. White girl, brown hair, you know, and I had to go with the matching Death School robes with the black and the white because we have to fit the aesthetic. I then had to choose a name. I went with Michelle as my first name since they don't have my real name as an option, and I decided to go with the Death Bard because I thought it sounded fun and I didn't feel like scrolling through this wheel forever to find a name that I liked. After all this, Headmaster Ambrose finally introduced himself as the headmaster of the Ravenwood School for Magical Arts. And Gamma here gave me a little tutorial on how to move around and just the basics on talking to people. After this, we saw a mysterious figure crossing the window in our tower, and Professor Ambrose told me that I should follow him so we could check it out. Kind of seems like a trap to me, but we're gonna do that. Here we ran into Malistaire, who is the big bad guy in this game from what I remember, and he claims he has some unfinished business to take care of, which is why he's back at the school. This ultimately leads him to wanting to attack me with his evil henchmen. It was now time for my first combat encounter, where Headmaster Ambrose and Malistaire decided to, instead of joining in on the battle, watch me get beat up by these evil henchmen, but that's alright. This is where I learn about my health and my mana and how to actually do combat by drawing from a deck of cards, which I then can play, with each card showing whether it's to help give me health or attack bad guys. It's very Magic the Gathering if anyone's ever played that game. As a matter of fact, I think this might be a gateway to Magic the Gathering thinking back on it. After a little bit, I end up defeating Malistaire's henchman, and he disappears, saying he's gonna see us later, but he's getting out of here for now. I end up spending way too much time doing this little jig, as our headmaster is trying to give us instructions on how we progress in this game and level up. I also got an increase in my health and my mana. After my little combat session, I met Professor Ambrose back at his office, where he gave me my first quest, which was to go speak to Private Conley in Unicorn Way. So I went to speak to Private Conley, and he talked to me about how Unicorn Way was being infested by these unnatural creatures of dark magic, such as ghosts, and he says that the guards are trying to push them back, but they're just no match for their dark magic. So he suggests maybe a wizard of magic abilities can help them, so he informs me that I should go fight a few lost souls and report back to him. I easily managed to complete this quest by defeating 2 lost souls who have a rank of 1 and are very easy to kill versus the henchmen that I faced earlier. After this, Private Conley told me that I should go talk to Karina Nightchance to see more about why all of these lost souls might be here amongst other things, and he informed me that there were in fact also skeleton pirates, and that I should go defeat some of them so I can learn about their tactics more. So that's exactly what I did. I made my way further down Unicorn Lane and found 2 skeleton pirates that I could easily defeat. After I defeated my second one, I was informed by the skeleton pirates that I had guts for such a little wizard, but I was no match for that which rattles in the darkness. So I was on a new quest to figure out what that meant. After going back to Kieran and telling him what I found out from the skeleton pirates, he told me that I should go find Lady Oriel, who was, I guess, some sort of pixie lady, and that she was super strong with magic and that she might be able to tell me what this rattle in the darkness was. So I once again headed down Unicorn Way until I eventually ran into Lady Oriel, who was in fact the protector of these fairies, and she was informing me that this undead dark magic was actually corrupting her fairies, and that there were bone cages set out that turned these good fairies into evil ones. So she sent me on the quest to destroy those cages, as well as to defeat a few dark fairies to gather their dust so that she could maybe figure out where this evil was coming from. So with that, I was on my way to destroy these bone cages, as well as to collect some fairy dust. I made very short work of Lady Oriel's quest, so I went back to her to inform her what I had found. Using the fairy dust, she was able to determine that it was Rattlebones, a ruthless tyrant who was banished to the underworld for his crimes, who was up to this mischievous nonsense. She then tried to determine his location, but she couldn't get much other than it was a tower that was covered in bones, so she suggested I go back to Kieran and ask if he knew where I could find this tower. Kieran then marked it on my map where I could find this tower, so I now had the location of where to find Rattlebones. All I had to do was defeat him. I, however, ended up getting distracted by a side quest because it was called Saving Private Orion, so how could I not do it? Private Conley informed me that Private Orion hadn't shown up for his shift, so I decided to go looking for him, and it turns out he was too scared to leave his house because apparently Lady Blackhope, the Wailing Widow, was far too scary for him to go to work and get paid. So he told me that if I could get rid of her, he would go to his job. I was able to find Lady Blackhope and challenged her to a battle along with her little minion, a skeleton pirate. And let me tell you, this battle was a little harder than having to fight some of the lost souls and just the skeleton pirates, so I had to put a little more thought into it, having to heal myself part of the way through the battle. This was also my first level 2 boss, so she was definitely the hardest thing I've had to face so far in this game without any help. But I was able to make quick work of her, and then I was able to easily finish up her little skeleton minion afterwards. So I headed back to the start of Unicorn Way and found that Private Orion had made it to work, and that Private Conley was definitely only a little bit making fun of him for being scared of the monsters. With that side quest finished, I decided to get back on the main storyline and find Rattlebones, who I was able to find precisely where he was on the map. He had a dark fairy for his minion to help him, but I made short work of him considering he was only a rank 2 bad guy versus a level 2 boss. After defeating Rattlebones, he told me that the day was mine, but the Dark Master's plans were already in motion and that I had not heard the last of Rattle in the Darkness. So this gave me clues that Malister was probably up to something no good. As Rattlebones was running away, he dropped a tome that I quickly picked up and put in my inventory as I did my little jig of victory for defeating him. On my way back to the beginning of Unicorn Way, I noticed that all the mist that was previously surrounding the ground had disappeared, although the monsters were still there, which meant I had taken care of this evil veil that was covering this land. Kieran congratulated me on defeating Rattlebones and told me that I should probably take the tome to the library to figure out what I should do with it. So I headed to the commons in search of the library and the librarian who would hopefully be able to point me in the right direction. After finding the library, I met Harold Argleston, who was the librarian here, and he told me he didn't recognize the tome from the library collection. And upon finding out that this was supposed to be delivered to Malister, he told me that I should take it to the headmaster right away. So that's exactly what I did. I showed Professor Ambrose my tome as well as explained to him what all went down, and he said that definitely seemed a little weird. I found out that the tome was called On the Trail of the Order of the Fang, and he told me he was going to have to look into this and informed me that while he was doing that, I should go meet my professors. So I met Mr. Lincoln in Ravenwood, who is the person who is registering me for my classes, and he introduced me to all of my professors. This included Lydia Greyrose of the Ice School, Hailstone Bailstone of the Storm School, Dahlia Falmay of the Fire School, Melinda Wu of the Life School, Arthur Weathersfield of the School of Balance, Cyrus Drake of the School of Myth, and lastly Malorn Ashthorn of the Death School, or the school I was a part of, who wasn't actually a professor, but just kind of filling in since the professor wasn't currently here. I later went on to talk to Malorn Ashthorn, and he showed me that the Death School happened to have kind of fallen into a hole and had yet to be replaced. Also, he informed me that Malister actually used to be the School of Death professor, but obviously they were still in the situation where they were looking for a new professor to take over. So, am I maybe a bad guy? Is this setting a bad example? Am I the Slytherin of this world? Who knows? I think it gives main character vibes, but we'll see. I also learned a little bit about how learning new spells works, especially through my school, the School of Death, where I could learn these spells at the cost of points, or sometimes free in some cases, and about how pips were used for higher level spells when I was in the middle of a battle. I also learned that I could go to other schools and gain spells as well, but I'd have to use trading points, which are earned through leveling up in quests. I was able to then get a ghoul for my first card to be added from the School of Death. I ended my day by going to my dorm and taking a look around. It looked pretty bare, but I knew I was going to be able to buy stuff and decorate it if it was something I wanted to do in the future. But that's where I'm going to end this video this time. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it was a little bit of a different style with the voiceover instead of just gameplay. If you enjoyed it, let me know. If not, also let me know. The voiceover is not going to be perfect. I'm just trying something a bit different, a bit new. Also, if you like the Wizards101 video, I'll hopefully do a few more of those in the future because they're pretty fun and I like reliving my childhood. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this.